Hello and welcome to another episode of the Danielle K Show. You guys, I'm so excited. My neighbor's here. It's Sandi Glandt. I didn't even know we were neighbors. I actually met her husband, Jared, who works directly with Grant Cardone probably about 5 years ago. And then just recently started following you, your fashion, your style. You're a mom. You're a pageant queen. I was like, hey, she does it all. She does it all. So I'm excited to get to know you and thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk mom and business and all the things.
I always have so much respect for women who are building something, but also raising a family. Yeah. And I think it's challenging to do both. So I want to kind of start before, we're going to go back a little bit. Though. Yeah. We're going to go back.
Hey you guys, it's Danielle K. Welcome to the Danielle K. Show. On this podcast, what you can expect is anything from fashion, fitness, hair, and yes, even family. I'm the creator of Natural Vita Real Hair Extensions and Isla Hand-Tied Hair. But what I'm really passionate about is sharing other people's stories, how they went from the pit to the peak, how entrepreneurs build the success that you see online today. So definitely tune into this podcast for a good story and a little bit of fashion and a little bit of hair and beauty mixed in.
Because you have this coaching program specifically for women, and tell us a little bit about that. It kind of helps them scale and grow their business.
Yeah, so it's called the High Performance Academy. And the really cool thing about it is it's bringing women together who are moms and business owners, and they're juggling a million things.
Right.
So I feel like it's, it was born out of myself, right? Like I wanted to have a group of women that I knew were doing incredible things, not just in business, but also really wanted to make sure that their families were being the priority and also having fun too, you know? So, so it's been going almost 5 years now.
Okay.
And, it's been amazing because the women, they come in, they know that they want more of their time freedom, right? Because I think that the biggest thing as a business owner is it's hard to turn it off. It's hard. It's hard when you see emails come through or when you know, there's always like opportunity for different things. So being able to be in a group of like-minded women that are always pushing each other and leveling up together, it's a totally different mindset. I did a post actually yesterday and I said, the ultimate life hack is having women around you that push you to do greater and better and are cheering you on.
Right.
So that's what that community is.
I think it's hard too because it's like we want our husbands to be our cheerleaders, but like they're busy working and hunting and doing all the stuff. So I think it's a great idea for women to have that sense of support and community and almost like feeling seen and heard. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes if you rely solely just on your husband to like validate you all the time, you're like, hey, maybe I need another group and a support system to do so. So they're mostly like-minded women who are like building businesses and things like that. What made you want, I was gonna say, what made you crazy enough to want to start this? I feel like anybody who's in the coaching space, I'm like, why did you want to do this? Like you didn't have kids when you started then? No, you did. They were little.
So they were little. So I actually, it was before Jordy. So my oldest just turned 5. So I started before he was born. And I was even doing it before that. So even before Jake was born, and he's about to be 8. And, for me, like I moved here from Pennsylvania and I didn't have a community. And I knew, back to what you're saying about the husbands, like relying on them. Like Jared was always so busy and I supported everything that he did, but I didn't want to be like, hey, when are you coming home? What are you doing? Like I also was never that woman either. I always wanted to have my own thing. I came from a family of entrepreneurs. It was always the message was build your own dream, like go after what you want. So I knew that was always the mindset and the goal. And I didn't have that community here. And so I was like, well, if I can't find it, I guess I'm going to build it. Right. So it's been amazing. I think you've actually you've had on the show some of my girlfriends, close girlfriends. Oh, nice. That it's amazing who you end up linking arms with when you have that mindset. Right. Because I'm sure you've seen this before, but women can be so catty. And I think that there's a little bit of having competition that's healthy, but not to the point where it gets catty and there's just a totally different feel to it. So I love bringing women together and I love watching my community of women win really big. And whether they're doing podcasts or books or speaking on stages, like they're doing really incredible things.
I think it's that accountability too. It's like when you hire a personal trainer, you're like, okay, I could probably do it on my own. Right. But if I have a trainer, they're going to push me. And you're kind of like committing publicly to doing big things. Right. So then your community is going to hold you accountable. Like, hey, how is it going? What's going on with this?
Yes. So, and it's amazing to see them continue that trajectory as well, because I've seen them in just 6 months or 3 months when they come into the academy, and they totally transform.
Yeah.
So it's really cool because it's not just me. They are cheerleaders and champions for each other, which is really powerful.
So when you started building that when your kids were little, how did you manage balancing, having your passion, having your purpose, being married, and then putting time into the kids? Because people will say that with me, because I have my 4 daughters and I have my hair companies, and they just are like, I don't know how you do it all. I'm like, your problem is you think that you have to choose one or the other.
Right.
And, if you're a mom listening to this, a lot of times, if you think you have to choose, that's actually kind of guilt holding you back.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can be successful. You have to create these boundaries. So what does it look like for you to where you feel like you're not, having the mom guilt, which we all have the mom guilt, that's going to happen, but I hate the word balance, but how do you balance or prioritize winning in every area? Yeah.
So for me, I really am very, very clear on the areas that I want to show up. So I know family, I know business, my girlfriends, like I'm very, very clear. And also my health, like I'm up, I know that not everybody agrees with this, but I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I get my workouts in. I'm very, very conscious about what I eat and how I fuel my body. So to me, I want to win in every area. And I think that when you do that, you get to show other women that it's possible too. I think one of the biggest things is having support. And I'm so blessed. I have my in-laws that live 5 minutes from us. Oh, wow. So they've been an incredible support system. And then just picking the areas, again, like balance, I don't agree with that either. So I think that you have to know, like, which season you're in, right? So like I was just telling you before we started, I was traveling this weekend. I came back today or yesterday, and tonight I'm doing like a beach pizza party with the kids, and my husband's traveling right now. So we just find the pockets of time where we can prioritize the family, where I know I have maybe 5 hours when the kids are at camp during the day. Maybe, my husband is traveling or I'm traveling. We come back and we really prioritize that family time when we are together. So it's really not like a balance across the board. It's like, where are we at right now? And how do we prioritize the things that matter the most to us?
I love that you're just like, you have to find those pockets.
Exactly.
Right. And it's not, it's quality time versus quantity. Right. There was a season of my life where I felt like I had to be with my kids 24/7. And then when one of them, I can't remember, it was when my older 2 girls were little, I remember my daughter was like, Mommy, why are you always on your phone? And I was like, oh, like, I don't want my kids to remember me always being on my phone. And yes, sometimes working at home, it does happen. But it makes you be like, wow, okay, like I need to take these little pockets and do a pizza party on the beach. Or even I told Garrett the other day, I was like, he's like, you don't have to pick up the kids from school every day. I go, what makes you think I don't like to pick up the kids every day? Because I want them to remember, like mom picking them up. I can get my work stuff done when they're in camp or
And you get little conversations with them in the car
like the
that you wouldn't normally get.
The funniest ones. But have you always been very like work driven, and have you always wanted to be a mom at the same time?
So the short answer is yes. I knew I always wanted to be a mom. And I also I knew I always had really big goals, and I didn't want to sacrifice one for the other. I never thought, because I'm a mom, that's not going to allow me to do all the goals that I have. I just knew I had to be a little bit more creative in figuring it out. And that's exactly, going back to the academy is like, we're showing the ladies the systems, the automations, the support that you need. Because if you think you have to do it all yourself, that is the fastest way to failure. You are going to burn out. You're going to feel like, how do I do this? And I think most women feel like they have to do it all themselves.
I was going to say, why do you think women feel that way? Like if you're coaching women, like how do you get them to let go of that chip? You're like, no, hire a cleaner, have someone do start with the little things.
And I feel like I say those things and they're like, oh my gosh, like I could never hire someone to come to my house and clean, or I could never like hire someone to make my meals for me. So I think it's just a mindset switch that we have to program. And again, getting around other women that are doing that to normalize that is okay. And if you want to thrive in all those areas, you've got to bring in support that's going to help you do that and buy back your time.
Even inside the business too. I mean, I'm obviously in the hair world, but I worked for 10 years behind the chair doing hair without an assistant because I was like, no, nobody can do it like me. Like, I was more of like a control issue thing. It's not even that I didn't want to delegate. And then it's funny because I hired my first assistant and I remember coming home from work and my husband was like, oh, you don't look dead. You look alive. And I was like, oh, okay.
Thank you.
I was like, I literally got home like 2 hours sooner than I normally would, but just buying back that time, like you said, I was like, wow. And once you experience that, you're like, where else in my life do I need to not necessarily delegate, but kind of just like let go.
Right.
And in doing so, I think there's a sticky spot, and maybe we can talk about this in business, because, you know, you might hire a PA or somebody to help you create these systems and processes,
right.
and they might mess it up. You know, they might not do it right. What do you suggest for women who are trying to build a business and they're trying to delegate, but they're just kind of handing it off? Like what you know what I mean? Instead of actually training and teaching them and being aligned and clear with what their vision and business is.
Yeah. Well, and again, this just goes back to the systems that, you know, I share with my ladies. If you expect someone to just go into a role and not give them any direction, any clarity, you're setting them up for failure.
Right.
You know, and even when I bring someone new onto my team, I always think there's like at least a 3-month window where I know it's not going to be smooth sailing right out of the gate. So, you know, I'm sure you're familiar, SOPs, like having, you know, standard procedures that are in place that they can follow that set them up for success. Also, when I bring someone onto the team, I have another team member help to train that person so they don't feel like they're alone. Like you're not just throwing them out to the wolves and you're like, go figure it out, you know? So I think that giving them a little bit of grace, also being able to have certain systems in place for them to actually thrive. Because I mean, I have this for my videographer team. I have this for my assistant. I have this for my social media part of my team. So it takes a while for them to get familiar, but sometimes I have someone from my social media team and she'll create content. I'm like, was that me or you? Because like, it's so hard for me to even tell because she's been with me for so long. She knows the voice and the brands. And I would just say for women, don't be afraid to bring people in and just start small. Start with the house cleaner maybe once a week, or start with someone coming to do your dry cleaning, you know, like little steps that'll help you build up to bigger steps.
And well, I like what you said too, no matter who it is, whether it's a cleaner or somebody that comes on for your social media or whatever it is, like they're not going to be able to read your mind right out of the gate. And so you have to go through this. Like I said, my first assistant, I was like, my first assistant was horrible. And then I was like, I think it's me. I was like, I think I'm a horrible trainer. And I knew I had become a good trainer when I could have anybody come assist me. And I'm like, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
You know, because I got to become a better like trainer in the roles and the responsibilities that they had. Do you help women, like get clear on, like, say they come in and they want to start a business and they're just kind of unclear with their messaging and branding and marketing? Do you do any of that?
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. Most of the women that come into the community and the ecosystem, they already know what they're doing. They already have that business or they have that brand. Sometimes there's a little bit of tweaking to help them with the messaging. But a lot of times they already have it and they're in a position where they're either, so actually there's two types of women that kind of come into the community. So one, she's already burnt out and she's like, I am at my limit. I am so maxed out. I need this now because I didn't start it from the beginning. And then there's the other woman who is just kind of getting into the groove, finding her stride. And she's like, I want to implement this now because I don't want to get to the place where I'm burnt out in like a year from now. Right.
I think that's the biggest struggle is like, and we do it to ourselves. Like, I mean, it's funny because right now I'm in a pretty good, like, not like smooth state
like a
right
flow.
now. Yeah, like a good flow. But I mean, I've been there so many times where, you know, in the salon culture, you go to work at 8 a.m. and you come home at 8 p.m. You know, it's like long days. And there'd been so many times where I just come home just like crying in my car, dry the tears, go in. And I think for the women maybe listening to that, this, like, it's, we have these stories. We tell ourselves, like, in the salon world, like I said, that was the culture and the community I came from. It's like, no, you just put in your time. That's what you do. And so I think a lot of times for women, they get in these, like, they put themselves in these situations of burnout. So now I always tell women, I'm like, you have to, like, when that mom guilt, that's just a friendly reminder, like, hey, you're kind of maxing out your time here. You need to change this. And like for me, like one of the biggest things that I had to do is I'm like, especially with kids, it was like, hey, maybe it's just a price increase, or maybe it's, you know, scaling the business even more. And so it's like when these women get to this burnout, how do you get them to almost like breathe and restructure their life essentially?
So I always ask them, like, where are you feeling the overwhelm? Right? Because maybe they're actually feeling more overwhelmed with the house structure or flows than they are in the business. Or vice versa, they're feeling so burnt out when it comes to never turning off the business. And then at home, they're like, it's fine. That's kind of under control. So just identifying, like, where do you need that support? Because at the end of the day, if you don't know, how are you going to be able to bring someone in to help you and support you there? So, and it's usually a mix of both, you know. they're feeling like they need someone in the business to kind of be there when they're not.
Right.
And then maybe at home, they're like, oh my gosh, I can never get dinner on the table, and I'm not prioritizing my own health, and I'm not working out. So figure out like, where do you want to be showing up that you're not right now? Because that's your first clue into unlocking all the rest. That's going to kind of unlock all the floodgates to making it all work.
Well, it's interesting too for women. Like I can say just in being married, when I hit that burnout space, and maybe you can tell me if you and Jared ever toggle with this, but if I get to burnout, my relationship's not great with my husband, because I'm coming in like depleted and tired, and then it's like at dinner we're arguing about business or whatever, instead of me going into the feminine role of being like, hey, okay, now I can work, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to go into the feminine, the support, and the mom. And it's interesting too, because there was a few years, I mean, Garrett and I have been married for 23 years this year. And we met like I was 18, we were babies. That's amazing. But I just think it's interesting, like when you get to that burnout stage, have you and Jared ever got to this place where you're kind of like both the masculine or both the alpha, and how do you, because I think independent women, that's one of the things you have to tap into your feminine. So how do you create that in your relationship with Jared?
It's so funny because I've been working on this. I've been working on switching off that hustle mode and like the masculine, because it's probably been like a year now when I've really, even for me, I've identified like, you have got to turn this off, because when he comes through the door, he doesn't need me as like
business partner mode.
Exactly. Like he wants the wife that's like soft and welcoming, and I've had to learn how to like turn one off and go, because I also work from home. So working, like literally when you open the door and you're like work mode, mom, wife mode, it's hard when it's just like a door, when you're like in and out of, one to the other. So I have very intentionally been finding ways to tap into like switching from that masculine to the feminine. But it's also, I have to say this, it's because I wanted to. Like he never said to me like, I want you to be more XYZ. It was more just like, I noticed you're a little bit stressed when I come home, or this or that. And I'm like, okay, like what can I do to maybe turn one off and tap into the other? So just being aware and conscious of it. And it's going to sound so old school, but like little things like greeting him at the door, having dinner ready. Like I kind of came into this whole homemaker era, like a year and a half ago, I started baking like sourdough bread and, all these things. But I'm like, that allowed me to turn one off and tap into the other. So it sounds like so silly and maybe even simple, but it's just little things that help me turn one off and kind of get into a different mode.
Well, I think that's important for any woman who's out there like building something and working. Entrepreneurs, you cannot turn your brain off. And so you have to make a conscious effort to be like, hey, I'm going to put a pin on this till tomorrow or whatever it is. And it's funny because I always tell Garrett, I'm like, guys, they just need like a little pat on the back when they come through the door. Like truthfully, like I know that sounds like so easy, ladies, but like
so true.
It's so true. Like if I'm stressed, I have to make a conscious effort when Garrett comes through the door that I'm not like the kids and this business. I'm like, hey, how was your day? Like I bet you killed it, and like like a hug or a kiss, and he'll just be like, oh, it was good. Like, thank you. You know? So Garrett always jokes around. He's like, men just want to be told they're the man. So sometimes when he comes in, I'm like, you're the man, babe. And he's like, thanks. And I'll make it like light and funny, But I do think it is hard. I had to learn that the hard way, because I just was like, why when we come home is there so much tension? But I will say, and maybe you can speak on this as well, for women, it's like we want to be the supporters for our men. So we don't want to burden them with our feelings and communication. How have you found it with you and Jared to, if you're feeling a little bit of like resentment or, like you're both stressed at work, I struggle with this. Like I won't open up to Garrett, and then one day I'm like, and he's like
floodgates.
Yeah, and he's like, whoa, you just like waterboarded me, and I'm like, I know, and he's like, so I have to work on like if I'm like supporting him, but also if I'm feeling a certain way, like communication. How do you work on that in your marriage?
Yeah, so it's so interesting. This is something that I feel like we hit a really good spot, because for a while we were also like, all of these things would build up, and then again the floodgates, and I feel like we have been very intentional about having time for just us together. So for instance, he's traveling right now. Our rule that we put into place was, if you travel, if I travel, we have to have a date night, like a come back, meet each other back, like as soon as the other person gets home, because you're so disconnected. I mean, you're physically disconnected, whether it's a day or a week, whatever it is, that both of us feel that. And both of our love languages are different. Of course, I think like all men, physical touch is my husband.
I'm like words of validation or affirmation and physical touch.
Exactly.
Says every man.
Exactly. So for me, me, it's like we always feel off when we're not getting each other's love language. So the first thing was just identifying that and being like, every time.
What are your love languages?
So mine is words of affirmation and service.
Okay.
Acts of service.
Says every girl.
Yes, yes. It's so funny because one time I told him, I don't even know how this like came up, but it was like, I think he's like, you told me you didn't like flowers. I said, no. I didn't say I didn't like flowers. I just said that wasn't like my top love language. So then he stopped getting me flowers for so long. I was like, I never said that. I didn't ever want them again.
Like, and I really like diamonds.
Yes, exactly. So I think just being really clear with each other, like, what do you need? You know? And one of the things that has been really, really helpful in our marriage is when we both say to each other, like, how can I serve you? And that allows the person to not feel bad about it, to not, you know, like, open up and share what you need, you know? And I think that anytime we do that and we take it, you know, you make it selfless and you're coming from that place of service to the other person, it's such a win-win scenario because like you're feeding into them, they want to give it back to you. And so just finding those touch points with each other, our life is so busy. Like there's always a million things going on. So again, going back to what is the priority, if we know each other, like we are that core unit, we have to feed that. So again, whether it's travel or even just a busy day, just finding like coming back to each other and serving the other person, because that is always like such a win-win for us.
I like that. How can I serve you? It does make it like selfless, because I think a lot of times we want to like tell them our love languages, but if you reframe it to how can I serve you? It's like, oh, he needs this from me or she needs this from me. So do you guys go on vacations a lot? Like little getaways and things like that to kind of like work on?
This weekend we're going away. We're going to do Vegas this weekend. Nice. But we also do staycations. So we'll go wherever, like we'll go to Turnberry, we'll go down to Miami Beach, and we'll just do like, even if it's just a day, we'll just go down there, just the two of us, and just, you know, just have no kids, just, you know, Sandy and Jared. And we call them our JNS days.
Oh, cute.
So January 1st, we go down to Aquilina and we literally, this is going to sound crazy, but we plan our entire year. Our entire year in one day. People are like, how do you do this? So we plan it all out. He knows his events. I know what I have. Obviously it changes. So every month you can update it and revisit. But we do that very strategically because life does get so busy. And even if we have to move those JNS days, we always get some time to connect and kind of talk to each other, like what's going on, where can I support you? And he's really good at being like, he'll want me to kind of like self-correct him in a way where he's like, how can I do better? What do you need from me? And again, like on date nights, opening up the conversation to asking those questions to each other.
What does it look like for you on like a regular work week for, you know, not balancing, but like, how does it work with you and your kids? Are they in school and then you work and then you pick them up? Like, how does like a regular week work for you?
Yeah. So like I said, I'm always up 5:35 in the morning is when I get up to do my workouts. 7 a.m. is when the kids have to get up. Right now they're in camp.
Okay.
So whether it's for camp or school, they're normally up by 7 a.m. And then I'm just like making breakfast, getting them ready for the day. Typically like
Do you have a nanny in the morning, or who covers your kids while you work out?
Well, they're sleeping.
Oh, but do you work out at home then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I'm like, how do you get to the gym?
Yes. Okay. So our gym is in our garage.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a full gym that we built out in our garage. Nice. And it was actually really great because when Jordy was a baby and even Jake, like I could just take the monitor down in there with me. The monitor's there.
Or the little saucers if they're like a year old. You're like, here, have some Cheeto Puffs.
Exactly. So it's great because I literally just go from my bedroom down. Like I would never have to leave my house if I didn't.
Oh, nice.
You know, if like I never wanted to leave, everything is there.
Right.
Which is great because it's like a little oasis. You know, the pool's there, the gym's there.
So do you take your kids to school and in the morning, or how does that work?
So Mondays and Fridays, I pick up and drop off.
Okay.
And then during the week, my in-laws help out with the pickups. And then I take them to school or camp or whatever. This is the first time that we don't have a nanny.
Oh, so, I was going to ask. I'm like, why don't you have a nanny?
So about 5 months ago, because it's been like 4 or 5 months since we've had a nanny.
Okay.
We were very lucky in the beginning when we first had babies. We had 2 really great nannies like out of the gate. So, you know, it's crazy. Like Jared's working, I'm working, the business. I had just come out with my book. I was doing all this PR. It got to a point where so one of them had left. So then we were down to one. And then the second one left. And cause she was like, I want to be with babies, like little kids. And they were older. Yeah. So we were fine with that. We have a great relationship with them. And I got into this position or mode where like we couldn't find anyone that was a good fit for the family. And I just felt, this kind of goes back to the mom guilt we were talking about. I was like, I would bring someone in, they'd come in for a month and then they leave. And then someone comes for 2 months.
It's hard on the kids.
Yes. And Jake said to me, he's like, Mommy, I hate when people come in and they have to leave. And both of the boys are very like, not emotional, but they have such big hearts that they get attached, you know? And I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done with bringing people in, and I'm just going to like, I'll move my schedule in a range where I need to. And again, thank goodness I have the support, the most amazing in-laws that come in and help us for date nights.
I was gonna say, for date nights, what do you do? Yeah, that's
in-laws.
Nice. I guess when they're older too, and you're just like date night like once a week. And they live here and it's good. We've always had 2 nannies too. And it was interesting because one of our nannies moved here with us, which we were so grateful with. And then I hired another one to help me with like morning routine.
Right.
And then she ended up going, and I was like, wait, I don't think I need 2 nannies. Like my kids are getting older. I'm like, I can make the mornings work. Like I can make the lunches. I can go to the gym after I drop them off, you know, because I don't have a gym in the house right now. But I think it was like, I was so set on this like story of like, I need the support in this because I'm building a business. And I realized I'm like, I do need the support. Don't get me wrong. But it was nice when this nanny left, and now I get to take my kids to camp or whatever it is. And I realized I was like, I actually enjoy doing this, you know? So there's a piece where it's like, as a working woman, like for me at least, I'll delegate like too much. And then I'm like, oh, I need to like hang out with my kids. Like they're so cute and I love being with them. So is that something that has been hard for you to balance, or you feel like you've always had like a pretty good grasp on it?
I feel like I'm always like checking the temperature. I feel like I'm always checking the temperature of like, how much time am I spending with the kids, with Jared, in the business? And it could change day to day. Like, it's not just a season. It's like one day, you know, again, off traveling, and then the next day I'm heavier with the kids. So I'm always kind of checking the temperature of like, what does it really look like, and where do I want to be? And so eventually I'm sure we'll have another nanny come back, but for right now,
it's fine.
We're good. And I'm really enjoying it because I'm like, they get so excited. They're like, Mom's picking us up and she's dropping us off. And I was joking with my hair girl this morning. She's like, you love being with your kids. And I'm like, I do. Like, I love being a hands-on mom and knowing that like they also want to be with me, because I don't know how long that's going to last. So like, at least for right now, I'm really, you know, prioritizing that season. And I love doing it.
Well, it's interesting though, because, and this is why I keep kind of going on this subject, because I think people, you know, they'll see your Instagram and they're like, how does she do it all? And so they literally want like a playbook of like, what does a week look like? But it, like you said, it depends on travel. It depends on like what's going on in your life, and prioritizing where do you need to be at that time or that season, like you said. So tell me, why were you crazy enough to do pageants? I don't know the pageant world. So I was just like,
didn't
whoa.
either until I was approached. So I guess, okay, so I won Mrs. International in 2022. So I was Mrs. Florida first. And I remember at the time.
What year was that? 2022?
2022.
Was that your first one?
That was
ever?
my first one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Ever. And the Florida director had come to me and she was like, would you be interested in doing a pageant? I was like, girl, I have so much going on with the kids, and we're like, one more thing on my plate is not ideal right now. And she had said to me, she was like, it's not about being like this pageant girl. She's like, your business, the way that you're doing it, and Slay Your Day and all the things that you're doing, she said, that's exactly what you would represent, you know, as your platform and how you would come in. And she kind of pitched it to me in a way where she was like, this would, you know, be great for the business.
Like
and
your
this
brand.
Would, And I was like, all right, let me marinate on this. And I think I had like 2 days to make my mind up. And of course I go to Jared. I'm like, what do you think? He's like, no, that's so ridiculous. I don't know if I want you to do this. He gets all these like crazy things in my head. And I'm like,
he said it was ridiculous. Why?
Because he's like, he's so funny. He's like, people like look for pretty girls and they want to like go after them and they want to like, you know, he's protective.
He's like, oh, I don't want her in the spotlight too much.
So I think, you know, from a like a protective point of view, he was like nervous about like what that would mean or whatever. So I was like, this would be like a really cool like bucket list thing to do, you know, and let me just try. Like, you know, I actually said yes to the opportunity. It was like April and the pageant was in July.
Okay.
So I only had 3 months to prepare, but like my whole platform was Slay Your Day.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't like I was making something up to go into this pageant. I was already doing this for
being
years.
you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that was the key to honestly going in and
it wasn't
winning.
a performance. It was just showcasing what you have built and who you are.
Exactly. And I was in an interview with the judges. I'm just telling them about the business and the platform and everything that I'm doing. I mean, I was shocked because I ended up winning and I won Mrs. International, but it wasn't, you know, pageants, I think they get a bad stigma because it's like, who's the prettiest or spends the most money in the gowns and all these things. That specifically the international system. And I just came back, yesterday from their international competition. And it's so not just uplifting, but they're promoting family. They're promoting married women. So when I knew that is what they stood on, that was kind of like my decision of like, this is the right organization to align with.
Right. So when you do a pageant, like I don't even know how they work. So you have to tell me. I know it's like the gown, but like, is there certain like areas? Like, do you wear different gowns and like do a skill set and like how does it work?
Yeah. So there's 3 different competitions for misses. So there's fitness, there's evening gown and interview.
Okay. So you do all 3 of those in like one pageant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first, like the preliminary part of it is you meet one-on-one with the judges.
Okay.
And then you go on stage and you do your fitness wear and you do your evening gown. And then from there, they pick their top 15.
Okay.
And then the finals night is when you're on stage talking about your platform and what you would do if you won.
Right.
Like if you win Mrs. International, what is your plan?
Right.
And so for me, like marketing plans and business and all this stuff, I'm like, again, I'm already doing all these things. I would just loop in the international system. You know, it was such a great marriage of the two.
Right.
So for me, it was so just organic to what I was already doing that it was so fun. And I think also because it was only 3 months of me like getting everything together and gowns and prep, it was just, I don't know. I think when I went in, it was so funny. We were not, I wasn't expecting, I think, to win like out of the gate like that. So I was shocked when it actually happened. But then getting to know the system, I was like, this is what they want. It's not necessarily like the pageant patty girls who are.
This is like, you're the real you're like not the real pageant girl, but like that's what they're looking for. They're not looking
it's
for
the authenticity. It's like the authenticity of
Right.
like the brand and the person and, you know, are you who you say you are?
Right.
And showing up and living it every day.
What did you discover in yourself by getting on stage and doing this? Because there's a lot of women who might be, you know, listening to this. I've done bikini competitions. That was like one of my goals. And I remember I felt like when I stepped on stage, I was just like, I was so proud of myself. And it was like this different version of me kind of like showed up. And even my husband was like, you carry yourself different, you speak differently. And I was like, it's like, it's very scary to put yourself out there, especially on stage. So what did you discover in yourself in doing this, you know, this pageant?
Yeah, I think, you know, from the beginning when I started, so I was Mrs. Florida International first, and then I was Mrs. International and had a whole year of like traveling and PR and events. And I think for me, it was playing too small, like realizing there's so much more. And like I said, you know, a couple of minutes ago, I love watching my community of women win really big. And when you're in a position like that, you get to be around other women who have really big goals, really big dreams, and support each other.
Right.
And so for me, it was like, I'm thinking way too small with my goals and where I want to go.
And doing the pageant made you feel that way?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes. And not only that, but there gets to be a level of like bringing everybody together to support, because it doesn't have to be just Slay Your Day, my platform. All these women have phenomenal platforms and are doing incredible things. So it's like, how can you be in a world and in a mindset? I think the mindset thing was the biggest thing that changed, because you're like, we all can win.
Right.
We all can support each other.
It's not a competition.
Right.
You're going to be the best version of yourself, and no one else can be you.
Exactly, exactly. So I didn't have to be, and that was another thing. I remember looking at all the girls around me being like, for like a split second, being like, oh my gosh, like, do I need to be like her? She's done this 5 times. Do I need to be like her? She's been here 3 or 4 times.
I just need to be me.
And I just like had a shift, and it was like, you are here to just be you. Don't like be her, because you can't be her. Just be you. And I felt like that was my superpower.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell me, we have Slay Your Day.
Yes.
This is a book that you wrote 5 years ago.
Yes. Yep.
But what is Slay Your Day? Like what exactly what does that mean?
Yeah. So Slay Your Day is going to look different for everybody, right? It means being the best version of yourself for you physically, mentally, for your family, for your business.
Right.
And it's really just tools. It's tools that women can, if they choose to take them and use them to unlock in their own lives. Because for me, it was when I didn't have the tools and the systems, the strategy and the support, it's really hard to try and build something and go after big goals and dreams when you're like, where do I start?
Right.
So
yeah,
it's like
overwhelming.
a tool. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's a toolkit.
It's a toolkit. That's exactly what it is. It's a toolkit of how to do this in your own life on whatever that level looks like for you.
What does it mean for you if you said I slayed my day? What does it look like for you?
So I'll tell you exactly what it looks like, because I know like to a T what Slay Your Day for me looks like. It means I'm productive in my business. I've spent quality time with my kids. I get dinner on the table and I get some sexy time with hubby at night. Right. It's like and I've worked out. Yeah. I've got, the workout going in the morning. I'm hydrated. I'm getting my vitamins in, like every
You're like,
area.
I smashed the day.
Yes. So like for me, and look, not every day do all those things happen. And that's why I don't want women to feel like my bar or my level has to be theirs. It is whatever you go after and you make it. Right. So like, I'm sure there's plenty of women that are like, being a pageant girl is like not on my list. Yeah. But maybe like getting dinner on the table for your family is.
I think that it's important to pick a goal though, because like you said, like for me, when I did my fitness competitions, like another version of me showed up because it was a scary goal that I committed to doing. Right. And it's interesting that like, I love the idea of like, I slayed my day. Like I totally can relate to that. But I also think it's very important for women to know, like, you don't slay every day and that's okay. And the biggest thing is like, you can do is, hey, tomorrow's a new day. Right. Or even like, if I'm in a funk, like halfway through my day, I'm like, the day's not over. I don't need to ruin the rest of my day. Right. I always think of it as like eating healthy, right? Yeah. You can have like a crappy weekend and have fun and eat whatever. Yeah. And then like, you don't need to come back and be like, oh, I need to do a 10-day cleanse. Right. No, you just need to get back on your routine that sets you up to slay your day. Right. So, exactly. I love it. So if people want to join your programs, how do they do that? How do they find you? Yeah. So they can go to sandraglandt.com/academy, or they can just reach out to me on social, on all the platforms. And they can come join us and join our events and our weekly calls. And we have a really big event coming up in September 25th. Oh, cool. And it'll be 200 women. Oh, nice. Business, it'll be all the podcasting and social media. And can they really come to, if they want to just come to an event, can they do that? Totally, yeah. Okay, they can do as much or as little as they want. I was like, can I come? I'm inviting myself. Totally. Well, because I didn't realize you live so close, and I've been trying to find like a community of women that is, I'm in the hair community, but I want to be like, I'm in the hair community, but I want to be like outside of the hair community. So I'll have to come check out some of your stuff. Totally. And September 25th is going to be amazing. Cool. I'm actually teaming up with a friend of mine, Kelly Roach, which is so funny. I met her through another mutual friend, and this is like the power of collaboration. We met and we actually started talking and just connecting about, it's just so funny, but we started connecting about like prepping. Oh, you know what I mean? Prepping, like doomsday prepping. Right. And we're like talking about our husbands and how they're prepping and all these things. Business didn't even come up. It was literally all about something totally outside of business. But then we connected about our family and our kids. And then we hosted an event together back in February. Okay. We put it together in less than 30 days. We had 100 women that showed up, and everyone was like, when is the next one? So we're like, when's the next one? What are we doing? Cool. So the next one is September 25th. Is it just one day? It's just one day. Okay. We'll have 200 ladies in the room. We'll have media. We'll have pop-up stations. It's going to be so fun. And and everybody's welcome. Okay. I'm going to come check it out. It's funny. I used to do hair events with like 300 to 500 artists. Yeah. And when I moved here, I told Garrett, I was like, I want to do a women's event. So now I'm like, okay, I'm meeting a bunch of people. Come. You can have a pop-up station. Yeah, I love it. Perfect. It'd be amazing. Well, you guys heard it from Sandi here. She's an amazing woman, a mother, an entrepreneur, and it's not easy, but it's always worth it. So if you guys are listening, where can they get your book? Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or
Yeah, I mean,
my
website.
Is it a workbook too? Can I journal?
Yeah, there's a journaling section in there. That's what I wanted. I wanted women to like go through the book and then actually give themselves a game plan.
Can they? Do you have an audio version of this?
I don't, but it's coming.
Okay, you should. I just recorded my first audiobook, and I will tell you, it's a lot more challenging than you would think.
Oh, great!
You have to talk so slow, and then like by the end of it, you're like, why can't I pronounce the?
Right. Yeah, so that's coming.
Because I'm like, I love listening to audios like almost every morning. I go for a walk or whatever. Okay, you guys. So slay your day. Go follow Sandi on social media. Check out her event. Where's it located?
It'll be here in South Florida.
September 25th.
September 25th.
DM her if you have any questions. But thank you so much for being on the show and the book and everything. I'm excited to collaborate and connect with you in the future.
Yes, thanks for having me.
All right, you guys, you heard it. Go ahead and follow. Go follow both of us, but share this show. If you have a girlfriend or somebody who needs that support in their life, tell them to check out Sandi. It sounds like an amazing group. I want to definitely check out some of her stuff. So again, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Share it, and we'll see you next week on the Danielle K. White Show.